Moving right along, we've got a really intriguing matchup here. Another bit of a head scratcher for me, though. Brad Riddell, another city kickboxing warrior here, 8-1, taking on Alex De Silva, who is 21-2. Now, Brad, this kid's kickboxing is legit. Now, I know that probably stands. Yeah, you should expect that when he comes out of a gym like City Kickboxing, but he's a striking specialist, maybe more so than some of the other fighters there. His opponent, Alex De Silva, though, is a violent finisher, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage here, Matt. Tell me about this fight. I'd love to hear your perspective and what you think of these two fighters.
Look, yet again, another city kickboxing guy and Brad Riddell. So right out of the gate, we know he's going to, he has a lot of guys training him, helping him prepare for this fight. I was kind of hot and cold on Riddell. I didn't know that he was the brightest star coming out of city kickboxing. But what an impressive performance he put in his last against Magomed Mustaev. That was a fight he was supposed to lose. He wasn't supposed to win that fight, and he really showed something. And now, we always talk about MMA where young guys hit this level, and they often hit it around 28, 29, where they finally put everything together, the striking, the defense, the grappling. And he's right in that age now, 28 years old. And coming off that last performance, I was just so ultra impressed. And I'll tell you, I've been down on some of these Brazilian guys who build up this huge record in the Brazilian regional scene. For Coelho here, it was mostly in Espera FC, which we know, that's where like the old Brazilian guys kind of went to die after they didn't have UFC careers anymore. And his UFC debut getting submitted and dominated really by Alexander Yakovlev wasn't that impressive. He did rebound with a win in his last fight. So, he does have some proven, ability to win in the UFC. But at the end of the day, I don't want to lay 325. But I watched that Mustaev fight, again, where Riddell is a dog, just what a really strong performance by him against the guy who, when you go back, is like 15-3, fought a lot of top level dudes. That was a good win. And he showed a lot in that fight. And I'm not sure, how does De Silva get the win here? So I always talk about path to victory with underdogs. So if you're going to take him, is he going to outbox Brad Riddell? I don't think so. Is he going to catch him and hurt him and knock him out? Probably not. He does have a lot of knockouts, but again, I think more than anywhere else in the country, and maybe some of the European spots as well, if they're over there for a while, the Brazilians tend to start when they're really young. They can fight as a pro at 16. So we're talking about another young guy here with a ton of fights, and it's not uncommon to see these 25-year-olds with 25 fights, and you're like, how do you get that many fights at 25 years old? They fight all the time, and some of the competition they face isn't very good. So it's really misleading sometimes looking at their record. So you have a guy who you think has all this power and submission skills. He gets subbed in his first UFC fight. And in his second one, you watch the way he's striking, and you're like, I don't really see this guy knocking anybody in the UFC out. So at the end of the day, I'm not sure I see that clear path to victory. So I'm staying away from the dog. But I don't know that I can lay minus 325 with Riddell yet.
I can't disagree there with you, Matt. I think that I would be more than willing to lay that price or parlay Brad Riddell maybe in a different spot. It just, Alex De Silva is a kid that I think has that finishing ability. And while Brad has proven to be nothing but durable, I know he comes from a good stable. I know he's a guy that trains at City Kickboxing. He's with Adesanya. He's with Volkanovski. But he's only got 9 professional fights. He's taken on a kid that, even though he is much, much younger, has 23 professional fights under his belt. And I know Brad Riddell, I think the key is going to be his takedown defense here. He's got solid takedown defense, a great ability to scramble, and a good get-up game. Alex De Silva's, most of his knockouts and his finishing ability with the KOs comes from his elbows and ground and pound. If he cannot keep Brad Riddell on the floor, I don't think De Silva is knocking Brad Riddell out on the feet. And that, to me, takes a big, big win condition away for a guy like Alex De Silva. I think the line is a little bit too wide, but I'm going to have to go ahead and say that Brad Riddell gets this one done.
Yeah, I agree. The line might be a little bit too wide, but it's not. But even though, with us saying that, neither one of us wants to jump on the dog. It's one of those lines where you say, gosh, this guy doesn't even have 10 fights yet. Minus 325 seems a little steep. But at the end of the day, I don't see anyone jumping to get the underdog, and that's why we're seeing a line continue to climb.
Yep, I completely agree here. I'm probably just going to go ahead and take a little pass on this one. Fireball and popcorn, if you will. Enjoy a beverage, get yourself a snack, and just go ahead and let that one pass on by. We can probably enjoy it. It should be an absolute banger of a fight. But our advantage as sports bettors is that we don't have to bet on every single fight. So don't force it. Let's let this one just slide on by for now, unless we find an angle maybe a little later in the week. We have got 436 live viewers. That's the recap for the preliminary card. We're headed on to the main card. This is Odds HQ. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. Do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Matt Holt has been kind enough to join us here on the show this evening, and we've got the good stuff here coming up.